What's up, Weekend Warrior Project? This is Alex, here to bring you the full accessorization of my brand new M1A. To get us started off, I'm going to do a quick safety check. As you can see, the chamber is clear. So, we're going to go ahead and begin disassembling. It's really simple. All you got to do is pull the trigger group off by pulling on the trigger guard, then sliding the barreled receiver out of the stock. The next thing we're going to do is install the bipod stud because it's really easy, it's very simple. All you do is remove the little stud from the adapter, and as you can see, there's a cutout right in the stock for it to fit in. So mine actually happened to fit just perfectly, and so I actually had to press it into place, which means it's not going anywhere even if that bipod stud falls out, which is awesome. You just screw it right back into place, and that's pretty much all there is to doing the bipod stud install. Alright, so just before I move on to the scope mount, I'm going to show kind of what the rifle looks like with the bipod on. And before I do actually put the bipod on it, I'm going to go ahead and install the sling. But reassembly is just as easy as disassembly. You know, it's one of the great things about the M1 style platform is it's that lock, stock, and barrel. So basically, you know, it's all three main pieces that you need to deal with when you have to field strip and clean it like that. So this 2-point sling, really easy to install. You can get these for fairly inexpensive. This one I got for like $15 when I picked up the rifle. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward how you put it on there. And you know, I've been kind of picking it up and throwing it around, throwing it on my sling, throwing it on my shoulder, take it off, and it's actually pretty comfortable for what I paid for it. It's just a sling, you know. It's good to carry the rifle around with. Alright, so now that we've got our sling and our bipod stud on, I'm just going to throw on the bipod just to kind of show what it looks like on there. This is a Harris style bipod, and it's pretty straightforward how you put it on. There's two little tongs that go over the bipod. You put it in and then you slide the stud through the hole in there and then you just tighten it down. That's all there is to it. Before we move forward, one thing I wanted to address is I do have couple different types of magazines. This is the thermal magazine, this is the actual Springfield Army one. I'm going to take care of the thermal magazine later. For now, we're going to throw this guy in here. When I do shooting video, I'm going to show kind of the difference between the two. I haven't had any problem with the thermals on my other M1A. It's been pretty good thus far. But yeah, this is the rifle with the bipod and the magazine in it. We're going to get this all prepped and ready for the scope mount. Alright, now to get the scope mount installed, I'm going to go ahead and safety check, clear it, you know, disassemble the rifle, put the trigger group over there, get it out of the way. And basically, with this, it's going to be a little bit more complicated because you have to remove the stripper clip guide, which I'll show here in just a moment. One of the important things to note, though, is that it is in there with, well, it's on there, but it stays in place because there's a metal pin, and you can see the pin by pulling off the stock, and if you look right there, it's that little hole. Basically, when I tried to do this at first, I tried to use this little Allen key. That didn't end up working out so great. I don't recommend it. I was gonna originally edit this out of the video, but you know, if anybody's watching this and they think, oh, I'll just use the Allen key, well, that's what'll happen. So I got a screwdriver with a little hex bit that would fit right in the hole to kind of break it loose. And as you'll see later, that didn't really work out so great. I actually ended up, it works better if you have a punch. but I ended up finding a broken drill bit that I had laying around that happened to fit just straight in the hole. So with that, you know, I didn't have all the necessary tools because I'm still kind of new to doing my own stuff to rifles. If you don't have the necessary equipment, there are ways to figure it out. This is sort of like a beginner's guide. I'm certainly no expert at it, and it's really something just as simple as installing a scope mount. So you can really kind of make it work the way you need it to. All right, so this is the pin that comes out. It's just a real simple little piece there. And as you can see, this is, I'm going to give you a better close-up of the drill bit that I used. There it is, poking through. That's where the pin used to be. Pretty straightforward, simple. You know, pull that right back out. The guide block should slide right off, but this is a relatively brand new rifle. This actually is a brand new rifle. And so it was a little bit harder. Now I know I should be using a rubber mallet, but again, it's not the tools that I had, and so I was as gentle as you can be with a hammer, and I tapped it off. The finish actually is just fine on the stripper clip guide. One little thing that I like to do also is put the pin with the stripper clip guide. I like to make sure the pieces stay together just in case I want to put that guide block back on. So it's in there. It's not going anywhere. We're done with that. So on to the actual installation of the scope mount. We're going to bust open this included, hang on, I got to take this off screen. Well, I'm going to bust into this included package of Loctite with the scope mount. Now I had, the previous time that I installed it, I had a different packet from another thing. Now this is the screw that's going to go in the top of the scope mount. It's going to connect the there's a little guide block that fits in between the scope mount and that little slide where the stripper clip guide was. It's going to hold it in place there, and I'll show that a little bit better later here. Now what you're looking at there, these are the two pieces that are going to go in the side of the rifle. You see where the big hole is on the scope mount. This is where it actually goes into the side there. I'm going to show that here. I'm going to pick up the rifle here. And as you can see, this is the side where the scope will mount to. And if you look on the mount itself, there is a divot sort of thing. I don't know what you would call that. That's going to basically fit into a slot that's in the side of the receiver there. As you can see, right there. And basically that's going to keep the scope mount from moving at all while the rifle fires, which is awesome. Really what you're doing with this particular scope mount is it's basically becoming a major part of the rifle, even though it's a separate piece. Alright, so now we're going to take and lock tight the main bolt that goes on the side of the scope mount. Make sure that you have the lever that's there in place. Now, I saw a video where a guy had it set to the, what he said, 9 o'clock position, which was basically straightforward. And what he did was took a mallet and he tapped it back to where the bottom of the scope mount and the guide area where the guide block was meet up and mesh perfectly together. That worked for him. I didn't have, again, that rubber mallet, and so basically it didn't end up working out too great for me. So you know, I did give it an honest effort, but basically what I ended up doing is just setting it in there the way that the lever was, in a way that the lever is back on it. As you can see, as such, I did that and tightened it down. Now this is the little guide block that goes, I keep saying guide block, that's it right there. That's what goes in the in the slot that is made between the stripper clip guide slot and the scope mount itself. So basically, what you're going to do is that little screw that I showed earlier that goes in the top is going to bolt to that. Now I'm going to make this main bolt, hand tight. I'm not going to go crank it down because I do still have Loctite on there. The block goes in the little slot just as such. And then if you've got your Allen keys set up, basically I'm going to go and an important thing to note is on the left and the right before you really get started, just note that there are 2 set screws that will go on the guide block, and that's what I was pointing out earlier. Now I'm going to take this bolt and put it in first so that the guide block is attached to the scope mount. And there it is, Loctited up. Pick the appropriate Allen key as such. Alright, so now that I've got the main bolt in, I'm going to go ahead and tighten up the smaller set screws on the side there, just to make sure that that guide block is locked in place, because you don't want any sort of left and right movement or up and front and back movement. And that's basically what those 2 set screws are there to eliminate. Alright, so one of the last things that you're going to do when you're installing the scope mount is make sure that there's another set screw right here. Basically what that's going to do is keep the front of the scope mount from moving up and down. This is also, if you're having trouble when you're zeroing your scope, this is also a good place to adjust elevation. Now it will be more permanent once you get that set, but that's something that you'll need to do. And then another side note for this particular set screw is that there's another set screw that goes into the side of it and helps kind of lock it into place. And then yeah, but that's it. That's pretty much all there is to it. Sadlak Industries Scope Mount. This is the low profile one. I didn't want to have something that stuck up too high, and there's that that side bolt again. So basically, the great thing about this scope mount is that, like I said before, it doesn't sit too high up like the Springfield Armory one, and it allows you to use your iron sights still. And so that's why I opted for this mount. So there you have it, folks. That is the complete M1A. I'm going to throw this Vortex Strike Eagle on there temporarily. That's the 1:6 powered scope with the BDC and horseshoe reticle. It's been a great scope. It was awesome for my other M1A, but I think I want to do something for a bit longer range. Vortex just released a new Strike Eagle in a 3-9, and then I can't remember what the other one is, but this is it right here. So I'm going to try to get that for the rifle before I do the serious sighting in, but for now this guy will ride on top. I'll probably do some shooting with it. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Please give it a like, subscribe, feel free to leave a comment. If there's anything in here you saw I did wrong or that I could do better, please let me know so I can fix it and address it, make sure everything's all kosher here on this side. But I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have an excellent rest of your day.